We are happy to announce that this episode of the SWW show is partially brought to you by Humble Bundle. Well, not really. We are part of the Humble Bundle referral program, and we just wanted to say that if you like really cheap games and maybe helping charity pending the Humble thing going on, all you have to do is go to humblebundle.com/?partner equals SWW. That's right, humblebundle.com/?partner equals SWW. And you just do your normal stuff, and it just kind of helps us get a couple bucks here and there. Maybe it helps AJ get his lights, maybe it's Mike camera, maybe we actually pay Corey for helping us out. But again, if you're going to go buy games anyway, it might be worth checking out. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to one of these interview episodes of the SWW show. I'm Mike, and today with me two special guests from, decently not next door. To get us started, do you two mind introducing yourself and the game we're here to talk about?
Sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Sam.
And I'm Vicky.
We're Canteen. We're working on a game called CorpoNation: The Sorting Process.
It's a dystopian narrative game, which is kind of inspired by the kind of like desk busy work sims like Papers, Please, and it's a slow burning thriller, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, slow burning like narrative thriller.
Yeah.
That's so obviously, as you guys said, Papers, Please seems like something that a lot of people come to mind when you hear something like this or you kind of see it. Where did the idea of this come from? And I'm hoping it's not just you two at some desk pushing jobs and realizing this is a great idea for a game.
Well, actually, one of the biggest inspirations was Brave New World, the book by Huxley. I just finished reading it like just before we started making the first prototype. It's just a really interesting vision of the future where, like, in 1984, it's the boot stamping on the human face forever. But in Brave New World, it's more like everyone's sedate and loves their oppressor. And that was like an avenue that we wanted to explore with it.
And it started first with the mechanic.
Yeah, the mechanic, the sample sorting that kind of came first, and everything sprung up around it.
No, that's interesting. So let's dig into that then, kind of that mechanic then of that, like as you said, there's the sorting, and then now you guys are kind of sitting through this desk kind of job, and it could be either what can we walk through a bit, kind of obviously the player's sitting, they're at this terminal. What kind of are they what is kind of the actions the player is doing, and kind of like what is their goal, obviously, because obviously there's some level of you have to pay bills, kind of keep going through this experience, kind of what is kind of their like play-by-play motivation?
So for the player themselves, the player character.
Mm-hmm.
So for the player character, you are just a person existing in this corporate dystopia, and I guess the number one goal is survival and being unnoticed.
Yeah,
I guess
there's kind of like a level of mystery to it, and like you, as a player, like entering this world, you arrive in an elevator, and you're on your like first day of the job, and you're just doing your job. You're doing what's been asked of you, and like, I think it's nice seeing people play it that they instantly fall into that. They don't feel like they're confused as to what it is they need to do. It's like, oh, I'm doing my job. I better do a good job of this.
I don't know what this is about people, that it's very much everyone just kind of, you drop into a corporate setting, everyone just goes, I understand, I get it. It's just kind of, they all accept their place.
And it's totally the same with like the bills in the game. Like, we honestly weren't sure if people would pay that much attention to it, but when we first started seeing people play it, as soon as they see there's bills to pay, it becomes their number one priority. People just kind of slip into this like natural, oh no, I need to survive, I need to pay my rent thing. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's so interesting that just kind of it worked that way for, like, it makes sense when you say that, like you don't have to explain to people mechanically that stuff, because like, oh yeah, we understand, bill has to get paid, like kind of
Exactly.
how this works. So obviously this game, I think it's fair to say there's a satirical nature, or at least some broader stuff there. How did you guys kind of find that balance when you guys were writing and designing this, of like making, as you just said, it's real to people, of like, here are bills, here are these things, but obviously there's some bigger, this is a dystopian that we don't quite live in yet. level in this game, and I'm kind of curious how you guys kind of ran with that line, but like making sure that players kind of understood this intuitively.
I mean, like one of the things that helped is that we knew we didn't want the game to feel like preachy. Like obviously, like as creators, we've got a perspective, but we didn't want the game to like feel that. We wanted the game to be much more about you just being stuck in this world and like trying to imagine what that world would actually be like. And I think from both of our own jobs, there is a kind of a funny nature to like corporate settings, like the kind of emails you get are just outrageous sometimes. Like you can't help but laugh. So it's like it kind of lends itself easily to kind of poking fun at a bit. Like,
Yeah, and in terms of like having the player understand and get the experience while also like still enjoying it. I think even when you are in a job that you don't like, you can still sometimes find this weird pleasure in like doing it well. And that's something we wanted to just pack it full of just like satisfying feelings and reactions and things like that.
I mean, another like bit is like tone wise, we really like the movie Brazil. So it's like an easy reference to then start thinking of kind of how you take like a bureaucracy and inflate it and make it like weird and larger than life. Like,
I have worked for my big share of we'll call them really big entities where I completely understand what you're saying when you say stuff like there is bureaucracy in a lot of places that like especially for like big entities that
mm,
people don't fully understand until it happens to you. You're like, oh, this is how come you hear stuff like this never got solved for 20 years because no one knows who to talk to that owns this thing and
yeah,
who has the correct permissioning and all that.
Yeah, totally.
God, how did you guys kind of find that line then of like obviously you just said you guys are making this point of it being this satirical kind of extreme case, but making sure it didn't almost get too real to people. Like, was there this line of like, okay, we need to make sure that people don't feel like they're just working?
I kind of feel like I always want some of that there. Like, and I'm not like I don't know if we will ultimately hit that line perfectly or not.
Mhm.
They're like I want people to feel a bit of the struggle of working, and I think that friction's a really like hard thing to balance of
Yeah.
knowing that players want to sit down and feel like they're succeeding, but our world wants you to feel like you're struggling a bit.
It's that thing where like games are often popular or successful because they make you feel powerful when you play them, and a lot of people really look for that in games. But we're kind of in some ways purposefully disempowering the player,
Mm,
like not to get super pretentious, but because we kind of want it to like while you're playing it to think about what work means to you in your own life, like what place it occupies in your life and how much space it should take up. But yeah, it's very, very hard to balance because there are going to be some people who are like, this just feels like work and I hate it. But there
yeah.
are going to be some people that like kind of get that a bit more.
I mean, some of the things we've tried to do is the game is like it's secretly really easy. Like it gives this strong impression of being really like punishing and difficult. But there's loads of like hidden systems in the background that are actually like helping you out and making it so that while you feel like, oh, there's bills coming up and I'm struggling today, you're probably gonna make enough money to get there.
Yeah.
Like
It's very hard to fail, like in terms of the bigger picture of the game. It's very
mm.
hard to like lose, I guess.
Yeah, actually, you kind of dug into what I was going to talk about next. Obviously, we've talked about these bills, and mechanically, you're trying to earn money and pay for the stuff. Is there kind of those negative consequences to players if all of a sudden, like in real life, you get like really loaded up on debt or any of that fun stuff, or is it kind of like a like, oh no, this is the purposely like this? It's this idea of the slog of like maybe there's ramifications, but like you keep going through and just kind of dealing with these repercussions.
there are there are some endings to the game
Mm.
which will come about as a result of, like massive debt or like really, really underperforming and not being able to keep up like at all. But I think it's really, really hard to get those endings, because as you get towards those endings, there are lots of things that will happen that will like kind of pull you away from them or help you get out of them. Because we wanted the player to ultimately be able to experience the whole story and to not have to like go back and start again. I know a lot of people like to replay games and try different endings, but because it's kind of more of a linear narrative, we wanted to give people the opportunity to like always be able to get to the end if they want to.
Yeah, but like you're saying, it's like we didn't want, if you were intentionally like misbehaving or intentionally avoiding your bills, we didn't want to like break the illusion. So like,
Yeah.
so stuff happens if you do that. Like
It's
it
it's
will
it's
account.
it's like real life. Eventually, the bank will find you. It might take them a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
You might run for a bit. Like
You won't think
realistically,
too
that
hard.
bill will have to get paid at some point.
No matter how many times you move house, student loans will always track you down.
Yeah.
As the one in America, this is accurate. This is a real statement that people need to remember. So I'm kind of curious as we're talking. So obviously we're talking. The game comes out soon, like a little over 2 weeks from now. I know you guys had. I think there still is kind of a prologue and some demo kind of available on Steam. I'm kind of immediately curious because obviously this is one of those games that I feel like until people sit down with, it's a lot of like abstract. Like we hope this is fun. Uh, how was kind of those initial like you saw people in numbers play this game and kind of did that feedback kind of change anything for you guys?
Yeah, like so like the very first time people played it was at an in-person event in the UK called, I'm trying to remember,
EGX.
EGX. Yeah, we were part of like an indie showcase in EGX, and like I think we shared the like demo with our like publisher before then, but we hadn't really shared it with many people other than like immediate friends.
Yeah, I'd certainly never like watched someone play it all the way through. So
Mm,
it was a very weird experience, but we learned so much from it. Like it was so worth it. Like because during the course of that, it was a long weekend. It was like Thursday to Sunday. Must have seen about like 100 people play it.
mm,
All different types of people as well. You know, like not just the target audience, but people who are just checking stuff out and children as well.
yeah,
So like just seeing what stuff people find hard and seeing what stuff they enjoy. And how can we get more of that in there?
yeah. I think like both of those were big. So like seeing the fact that really young kids were able to deal with the memory aspects of the game where they have to like figure out which sample goes in which tube easily. That gave us a nice sense of like reassurance that it's like, okay, like we don't need to worry about people that are complaining that it's too hard. Like kids could do it. Like maybe that's not fair. Yeah, like,
Time,
yeah,
we have listened to people that have said it's too hard.
yeah, we have changed it. Yeah.
We have changed it a bit.
But then like yeah, as well as that, seeing the moments in the game where people's like eyes really lit up or the bits that they really liked. Such as if you're in the elevator on your way to work, you can press the alarm button and something will happen. Like and whenever people did that, they really loved it. So we really tried to like get more of those moments into the game.
Yeah, that's it. Because obviously, like, in real life corporate settings, we have all those fun interactions that like real people don't ever let their intrusive thoughts kind of take over of like pulling the fire alarm or kind of messing with your coworker in that way. How did you guys kind of like, as you just said, there's at least some level of you can do things in this world. How do you guys kind of think of that line? Did you just think of like what are those kind of things that like if I didn't care of consequences I would do in a corporate setting? Was it like, oh, we have some civic goals, we just want to make certain things interactive? How'd you kind of balance that like secondary interactive stuff?
I think it's kind of the stuff kind of presented itself as we
Yeah,
were
no.
building it. Like it kind of so like another one that it's not quite the same, but you get lots of spam emails, and that came from like one of our very early builds. You didn't actually get that many emails, and it felt wrong. And like one of our
Mm.
friends that played it like was saying like, "Oh, you need to get more emails." So we were trying to think like, "Oh, where would they come from?" And then it's like, "Oh, well, we've got all these other like things you're doing in the game, so they'll probably spam you with like emails." So like, if you don't play the like state approved gaming, you'll get an email being like, "You didn't log in, like you're messing up." Like,
That is so good. God, there's a lot of like fun interactive kind of stuff there. I wanna shout out. So as we're talking, I have your Steam page kind of up on one of my monitors, and the one trailer keeps playing, that is like the like it's called like the Ringo CorpoNation trailer, and it's really fun. It reminds me of like the like Command and Conquer stuff in the 90s, like that kind of like very kind of satirical trailer. I'm kind of curious, did like where did the idea of like that one specifically come from, or any of the other kind of fun marketing stuff? Obviously, you guys are kind of doing some satirical and kind of riffing on stuff kind of in the material.
Which trailer is the?
It has the guy that looks very serious, corporate-y, like talking in the background, going, and then it's like showing snippets of the game.
Yeah, so that was our publisher's idea
Mm.
originally, and it was really, really, it really worked because there is a character like that in the game that exists kind of in the abstract, and they found this actor that just looked exactly how we'd pictured him,
Mm.
uh, and we wrote a script for like this kind of induction training video where it's like because obviously at the start of the game for real you just start off in the elevator, but we had toyed around with the idea of having an induction video at the start there. We kind of had to drop it for scope reasons, but this felt like a really great opportunity to like get to do that. uh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Mm.
It's a very fun, and it also just honest truth, it's one of the things that may catch you guys out because it was. It's very fun of like I'm like when games now do those kind of fun things, is one of those moments of that. But yeah, actually, let's jump into I'd say the final kind of big chunk here as we're talking to. As we said, obviously, you guys, the developers, you guys are being published by Platonic Friends, right?
Yeah,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I'm kind of curious what that was. Obviously, what you guys can talk about, because I know all those processes are kind of hushed in some level of shadows. Was this kind of you guys were working on a demo, you started pitching around, and you worked with the agreement with them? Was it people you kind of knew? I'm kind of curious, kind of how did this relationship come to be?
I feel like we got quite lucky, which
we got
like
so
yeah,
lucky.
it's like a really common like statement you hear from people. But we were working on the game ourselves, and we were running out of money. We knew like either we had to like launch it or find a publisher. And where we live in the UK, there's a kind of a yearly games development conference that happens. So our plan was that we were gonna put a demo together, put a pitch deck together, and then approach publishers at this like kind of local games event and just have a like a friendly question of like how do we properly approach you, like hey, we're working on something, like can you give us advice about how to like come and talk to you about it. And one of the tools we used to like get in touch with the publishers was the kind of the networking platform that comes with the like the event we were going to. So it's like a website where you sign up and say like, oh, I'd like to meet other people at their event.
We just put a link to Sam put a trailer together, and we just put a link to that on our profiles, and like a couple of people reached out to us, and we reached out to a couple of people, set some meetings.
Mhm.
One of them was Steph from Platonic Friends, and I don't think we realized until we were already there that like we were sort of pitching already.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We didn't realize we were pitching until
You're
we were.
pitching from the moment you sent that email. Like the objective answer is like that's the truth of the matter. Is you're definitely pitching from like immediately.
We totally thought we were just going to say, so how do you approach a publisher? But then sort of turned into like, oh, we are approaching a publisher.
Mhm.
And then we sent her our demo a little while later, and she and the previous head of publishing that was working there, they both really loved it, which was a shock because I wasn't expecting anyone to like it, to be honest. Oh yeah, and we signed with them quite quickly because they just had an amazing vibe, and they're just like a great bunch of people.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, that sounds great. It always is interesting because like I'm trying to think, I don't know if it's like I when I looked them up, like it's I've heard of a few things, but they're definitely not. I'd say the biggest publisher out there too. Obviously, ukulele is probably one of the biggest things, kind of known for them. But like it is interesting to me, kind of, especially as you see this rise of this some I'd say smaller tier of publishing is probably a valid way to kind of rank them. And you're kind of hearing a lot of these stories of like kind of you guys size kind of stuff coming around, being like, yeah, this is kind of a great new way to get funded. Do you guys picture in the future that you'd work with a publisher kind of this size again? Do you guys want to at some point try to self-publish? I'm assuming this experience sounds like it's at least been good.
Yeah, I think if we were able to self-publish, like if somehow you made enough money and could
Mm,
get enough funding, uh, it's like always cool to do stuff independently, but a publisher brings you lots of value in other places. Like they have like dedicated marketing people and QA people, and it's like they take that stuff off your hands, so you don't have to worry about it yourself.
yeah,
It means you can just focus on the game.
it's nice to have like the space to be able to just focus on making the game as good as possible rather than having to spend a bunch of energy also doing all sorts of other jobs that would go alongside like actually releasing a game.
Mm.
You guys, like this still, I promise, this still, I bet a ton of background work that's not visible you guys doing. But yeah, I can imagine at least some level of loads were taking off. Especially like one of them being with the publisher, because you guys are very text heavy and you're in multiple languages, correct? I'm assuming that's more being handled on the publishing end than like you guys translating.
Yeah, so we've our like Platonic friends found some publishing partners, some like really nice teams who of some really great talented people that have been working on localizing the game over the last several months. It's a big job, like you said. It's very text heavy. It's a hell of a lot of words, and I would never have thought without a publisher to launch on multiple languages, but I think it's like a really worthwhile thing to do, especially because apparently there's a big market for this kind of game in Latin America. So like launching with Brazilian Portuguese seems like a really good shout.
That is interesting. I never thought of kind of where games of kind of this thing is big. So you're saying this, it seems to be like a big market kind of in that like South America area for this type of game.
Yeah, apparently so.
So yeah, I think there's just a lot of people in South America that play games
Yeah.
anyway.
That's true too.
Yeah.
100%. People forget that point subject. I was curious. Gotta be like some like I have always heard like certain genres just do objectively better in certain regions. So like in Germany, for example, I've always heard like people be like, this is where strategy games do really well, for example. Or like you kind of hear those kind of sub stories. That's why I was curious, kind of when that stuff kind of drops. So
Mm. Yeah, I think it's new to us, so we're
Yeah.
we're excited to see what happens. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
perfect. But yeah, the game as we've been talking about is CorpoNation, the sorting process. As we were talking here, I was gonna say I was gonna kind of leave here for you guys kind of lead, or is there any spot you guys really want to touch base on that we have not touched on the game that you think is something amazing that people need to hear about the game, or any like selling spot that you go for people who want to go check out an experience like this.
Oh, I don't know. I think like one thing that was like I guess I'm thinking about at the moment because we were just doing the Steam Storyteller Festival, and that was like really great for us. There's a load of people that are have wishes. I think it's not immediately obvious that our game is like a narrative game. It's like I feel like we've made something really weird in a way that's really hard to like to show people. It's one that's like you've got to sit down and play it to understand what it is that's there. Like
Yeah, it's kind of close to interactive fiction in a lot of ways, because there it is very like the word count's very high, but at the same time, it's sort of like we've like made it so that you don't have to read anything if you don't want to. You can just kind of like go through it without looking at any of the story or the text. So yeah, it's like kind of in this weird niche where it's like a visual novel, but also not.
yeah. If you just want to do the work, you just do the work.
Yeah, that is interesting. Actually, to close that, what if I said to you, name to me what genre you guys fall under? Where would you guys put yourself? Because I don't know if there is a clean answer, at least for me. When you said, because visual novels up there, obviously, adventure-y's up there. I'm kind of curious, kind of where do you guys kind of think this falls?
Yeah, like narrative simulation adventure.
Yeah,
I think it's got like elements of simulation games, elements of narrative, elements of adventure. Kind of fits into a lot. Point and click as well is
I was
another
gonna say,
one
yeah.
that could easily fit.
I don't think you're wrong. It's just yeah, it's definitely one of those where it's a little of a harder, I think, to just drop it in and be like, this is what it is. Like game.
Yeah. It's been quite a job like trying to explain the game to people over the years. It's like not an easy one where you can just say, oh, it's like Vampire Survivors meets some other games. It's like, I don't know, it's really hard to explain until you say Papers, Please, and then people kind of like imagine in their heads what it might look like. But before that, it's really hard.
Yeah, stuff like it is interesting when a game becomes a genre. Like obviously we have Souls like. So as you said, Vampire Survivors became a thing, or Papers, Please. Like it is very it's interesting, but it's also very helpful. Because yeah, without something like Papers, Please, I'm trying to like aren't many things out there I can think of that would like help ground you guys a ton. Like kind of like a visual indicator and kind of what does it. It is so it's interesting how like you could use other games as a shorthand to at least be like, oh, we functionally get it of like how this starts.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a strange like danger there as well, which like we've really tried to stay away from as much as we can, which is I feel like the Papers, Please like as a genre. One of the hallmarks is that there's multiple endings and it's like a choose your own adventure, not a choose your own adventure, but like you're expected to sit down and play lots of different playthroughs and get lots of different endings is the kind of the way they deliver their narrative. But we're not really doing that. Like we're expecting you to just play through once. Like there are multiple different endings, but the kind of I feel like the juicy bit is in the journey to get there rather than in replaying and like doing all these different endings. Like yeah, it feels a bit like Oxenfree to me, which like that's got multiple endings, but when you get to the end of it, you're not like, oh, I want to play it immediately again and do this other path. You're like, I just got a nice story. Like,
yeah, I do like that kind of comparison of like you're like yeah no it like sure technically for me this is unique than for you, but it's kind of like life where you're like but I wouldn't do the whole thing again. Like it's like you're like but I this is mine. Like it's not a like abstract of yeah I want to see it like in Baldur's Gate when I make 50 choices. What does it do again? Like it's almost like you're like I want to say this is my journey. It reminds me of like when I've played Mass Effect, like in my head, there is a canon of Mass Effect that I've played through, and the rest of it just I happen to play it again. But it's not like the when I refer to Mass Effect what I mean.
Yeah, I'm totally the same when I play games. Like I role play to the max. Like I do the game as I would imagine I would if I was that character, and then I don't need to do it again because I've seen the canon.
Perfect. But yeah, I think that's it for us. We are here to talk about we have talked about CorpoNation, the sorting process, which comes out on Steam like soon, like as this comes out, either check it out or it might be real next to it. Comes out on February 22nd, 2024. And obviously some currency exchange, fun stuff there. Do you guys know how much the game will be for sale yet?
not at the moment.
Okay. Not at the top of my head.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys even knew it in any of that. But yeah, perfect. But yeah, keep an eye out for that then, and everyone go wishlist it no matter what. Helps every developer out massively. And I want to say again,
it really does.
Yeah, it is one of those that everyone hypes about wishlisting, but it fundamentally could change the trajectory of games. It's shocking. So
yeah.
Again, guys, thank you for talking to me today, and best of luck as you guys are very rapidly finishing up development of the
game. Thank you.
Perfect. The SWW show and all of its affiliate podcasts are podcast by me, Mike Maroney, and AJ Losi, sometimes by contributors, including Corey King. You can follow the SWW show on social media at the SWW show, or sooner or later you go to patreon.com/SWW to help us out. Thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day.